Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion video. Now, what if I told you guys that one Yu-Gi-Oh! Character, or at least a doppelganger of that character, has appeared in every single Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, from Season 0 all the way up until the current ongoing anime, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, because that is basically what this video is going to be about. I am not really proposing, but I want to discuss with you guys that Tetsu Trudge, Tetsu Ushio, the character you're seeing on screen, the bully from Duel Monsters, the cop from 5Ds, a version of him, whether it's him or not is to be debated, it's definitely not, but a version of him has appeared in every single Yu-Gi-Oh! Iteration, and that's what this video is going to be discussing. A really cool Easter egg, and it was not fully discovered by myself. It was discovered by, at least the first time I saw it, Twitter user at 9ren999, who always posts really cool screenshots and like pick stitches, so definitely follow them on Twitter. I will link their account down below. Huge shout out to them for even discovering this ode. And with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Timeline always being so hotly, not contested, but debated, I guess you can say, whether, 5Ds is basically the end of the timeline, if all the shows are canon, if none of the shows are canon, or it's just Duel Monsters and GX. This is actually really, really cool that there is a character that seemingly transcends even the Yu-Gi-Oh! Timeline and shows up in every single show. So starting with Tetsu Ushio, he shows up in Season 0 in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga and in Duel Monsters as being a bully. And this character represents a lot more than just being a generic bully turned into a cop, basically a guy who kind of turned his life around, but a very rough and tough, rough around the edges kind of guy. He represents Yugi getting his wish granted from the Millennium Puzzle. When Yugi created the Millennium Puzzle, or I shouldn't say created, put together the Millennium Puzzle, his wish was that he wanted friends. He got friends by standing up to Ushio, by standing up to this man to protect Joey and Tristan, Janucci and Honda, in the original story. So Ushio really does represent a lot more than just meets the eye, than just, again, that generic bully. And so he was obviously in Duel Monsters, and he was in 5Ds. Those were his two prominent roles. In Season 0, he even had a whole episode and punishment game dedicated to him. In Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, when all the characters are disappearing, when everyone's disappearing from Domino City in Season 4 during the Darkness arc, we see this name. And the name on the computer of all the people that are disappearing is Tetsu Ushio. So there's his GX reference. Now we go into Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale, and I didn't know this one existed. I knew the one in Arc 5 was a thing, but I did not know the ones in Zale and Vrains, even though the one in Vrains just happened a couple weeks ago, were kind of a reference to him, because I never saw him. But take a look at this scene in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale.
役目は終わったようだ。エリファス。
みんな、ユーマが私たちに力を与えてくれたように、今度は私たちがユーマに力を与え。
So I'm not sure if you managed to pick him out, but here he is. Tetsu Ushio has transcended from the first three shows and turned into a resident of the astral world in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale, which is actually pretty hilarious. Now, do I actually think this is him? Definitely not. After 5Ds, I don't think really any of these characters are him per se, but I also don't think this is a coincidence that a version of him has appeared in every single show. I truly do think that it is a reference to him. I think it is a really cool Easter egg, maybe one of the coolest Yu-Gi-Oh! Easter eggs ever. Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale has done this before as well. You can see in this shot characters that very closely resemble Aki and Asuka, Akiza and Alexis in the dub, the leading girls from 5Ds and GX respectively, were in the backgrounds of these shots. We also had another shot from Yuma's school where a character that looks very similar to Manjome, to Chaz Princeton from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, was in the background. But again, this is not Aki, this is not Asuka, this is not Chaz. They didn't teleport into the Zexal timeline and keep their young age and were just background characters in the school. It was just a reference. It's just an Easter egg. That's all it is. And I think in this case, that's all it is as well. Moving on to Arc 5, we have this shot where they talk about I don't remember if it was legendary duelists or just really talented duelists, but we see a character that looks identical to a silhouette of Ushio. Now, of course, this is referencing past duelists, so I think that this being Ushio is definitely plausible, more plausible than the Zale Astral World character being him. And then moving on to Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, when Soulburner was talking about his past, talking about how he didn't really want to live anymore, we see him beating up some thugs, and it's very fitting that one of the thugs, because that's what Ushio was in the very beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh! He was a thug, he was a bully, and Homura Takeru has knocked out a character that from the back, from that side, looks very, very similar to Ushio. So Tetsu Trudge, Tetsu Ushio, a version of him at the very least, has seemingly appeared in every single Yu-Gi-Oh anime. And I will restate what I've already said. I don't think this is actually him. I don't think, he's actually transcended the Yu-Gi-Oh timelines, but I think it probably is the coolest Yu-Gi-Oh Easter egg. I mean, this is the only character that I can think of that I'm aware of, and I didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't know he had kind of a shout-out in Zale and a shout-out in Vrains until this Twitter user posted this picture. So again, big thank you to them for even connecting the dots here. But really, really awesome Easter egg. And I don't think, again, there is any other character that has had some sort of reference in every single Yu-Gi-Oh iteration from all the way back to Season 0 through Vrains without fail. So Tetsu Ushio, Tetsu Trudge, congratulations, man. You have transcended the Yu-Gi-Oh timeline. But let me know what you guys think of this down below. I honestly think it is one of the coolest Easter eggs, and that's what I love about this community, because I've been in it for so long, and new things like this keep popping up every now and then, and there's new discoveries that are always being made, and this community really is just freaking awesome. So huge shout out to Twitter user 9run999. Thank you so much for just tweeting this and in turn bringing it to my attention. So hopefully you guys will leave your thoughts on what you think of this Easter egg down below, and let me know if you think this is the coolest Easter egg. And whenever Yu-Gi-Oh 7 happens, we will have to keep our eye on for 3 years to see if Tetsu Ushio will make some sort of appearance or reference to him in that show. A special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons Alexa Baker, Glen McGookin, Jorge Carrillo, James Rose, Omni Lord, Samuel Stark, Thomas Adderley, Horace Maye, and Amber Crystal. And to my Diamond tier patrons Bouldergeist and Jesse Wood, and to my Egyptian God tier patrons Syn Cloud and Chris Swan. A huge thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon. I cannot tell you how much it helps out my channel and myself. And a huge thank you to everyone who just watches these videos, because without you guys, I would not be able to do this. Make sure you stay tuned to my channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.